In this video I will show you how I made this blanket with ordinary granny squares. First I did some shopping. I got chunky yarn and I'm using black, yellow and grey. It says 6mm hook, which I have here, and yarn needle to work in tails. So to start the granny square I made chain 3 and slip stitch in the first stitch. Then chain 2, which works as a first double crochet, and 2 more double crochets in the center. Next chain 2 and 3 double crochets in the center. And the same again, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets in the center. And to finish the round, chain 2 and slip stitch on the top of first chain, which is first double crochet. Now I have 4 chain 2 spaces in which I will be working in. Next round is chain 2, turn your work, make 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets in the same space, and that will be the corner. And that's the first corner done. In next space, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets to make the next corner. And now half of round 2 is done. And exactly the same for next 2 spaces. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. When all 4 corners done, join with a slip stitch. For round 3, chain 2, turn your work and make 2 double crochets in the same space. Then again corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. This pattern is very easy. All you do, you work in the spaces, and if you know how to count till 3, then this pattern is for you. In the next space, 3 double crochets, and corner again, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. And the same way till the end of round. And to finish round, join with slip stitch. Now the round 4 and the last one in my case, chain 2, turn your work and work 2 double crochets in the same space. Corner in next space, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Then in next 2 spaces, 3 double crochets in each. And again, corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and like that all the way around. And when the 4th round is finished, join with the slip stitch and fasten off. Cut the yarn and first granny square is done. I wanted to have frame for each granny square, so I used black chunky yarn, the same size hook, different needle and scissors. So I started by joining the black yarn to the granny square. And I tie a double knot with the black and double knot with the black and grey, due to previous experience. Blanket, which I made a couple years ago, started to open up, especially after washing machine. I pull yarn through, make chain 1, and then in every single stitch, 1 single crochet. That makes a border or a frame or just nice finishing touch. Here I inserted hook in the space, but if you want, you can just insert in the top loops. In the corner I made 2 single crochets and then the 3rd one in those tiny loops from the first double crochet. And again, that's my preference. You can do 3 single crochets in the space. And the same way all around. When frame's finished, join with a slip stitch and fasten off. And once again, for stitches to not open up, I tie a double knot with the black ones. And then what's left to work in tails? And granny square is complete. For my blanket I will need many more. For my design I needed some touch with yellow. So I made first 2 rounds in the middle with yellow. When 2 rounds are done, join with slip stitch and fasten off. Cut the yarn. Work in the middle tail. Then I joined grey yarn. And once again, double knot with grey and double knot with grey and yellow. Pull yarn through the space, chain 2 and 2 double crochets in the space. Then corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and to repeat the same for this and next round. join with a slip stitch and fasten off. Then the same as for every other square, add the frame and work in the tails. For this blanket I needed 117 squares. So I made grey, I made yellow and I made mixed. That is a lot. One square took me 20 minutes. So 417 squares roughly was 39 hours. This is how design looks like, and next step is to start stitching together. Each square has left and right side. So I have to make sure I put facing right side to right side before sewing. And to sew them together, I put needle through the outside loops from one side to other. And like that, stitch by stitch, square by square, until blanket is connected. For this blanket, which was 9 times 13 squares, I used 10 grey, 4 yellow and 4 black skeins. Here I'm adding next square, had to face right side to right side again, and keep stitching. At this point I didn't want to mess up my design, so I moved to the floor. I started to stitch with the shorter horizontal lines. Vertical lines in between are still open. This blanket I don't want to stitch together with the needle, because previous blanket I did crochet together and I didn't like the visible joints. Finally, big job is done. I asked my daughter to hold it for me. I like design, I love the colors, there's just one more thing to do, and that is outside frame. And I decided to make a shell border. And because I already made frame around each square with a single crochet, I don't need to do it again. And it's easier to start. I join black for the frame, double knots, pull yarn through, yarn over, skip 1 and 5 double crochets into next stitch. First shell done, and to secure it, skip 1 and slip stitch into the next. Then again yarn over, skip 1, 5 double crochets into next one, skip 1 and slip stitch into next, and like that all the way around. When it comes to corner, just keep doing what you're doing. Skip 1, 5 double crochets into next, skip 1 and slip stitch into next. This border looks so good. When the last shell is done, join with a slip stitch and fasten up. And the last thing to do is work in tails. And now from this old patchy blanket, stitched and fixed, to this new beautiful and matching. Thanks for watching!